Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Citizen Sleeper. I'm going to say up front that... There we go, Cycle 66. I've been I filmed quite a lot initially, and it's been probably 10 days or more since I actually filmed an episode, so I'll have to remind myself where I got up to. But sort of filming this on the 19th of January. I've basically been holding off, waiting to see if they'd release the final part of the story DLC. Probably said in a previous episode, they've released 2 out of 3 planned story DLCs for this sort of refugees storyline, which is great, but I want to play it to completion, so this might be my last episode for a little while. Just I'll probably pause the series until that it was supposed to be early 2023, so hopefully it's not that far away. And I will definitely 100% be coming back and finishing the series once that third DLC is released. But we'll do this for now. I've only got 2 points. I'm not so fussed about that. I think we're managing our condition pretty well at the moment. Let's have a quick look at our drives. Flotilla support, I've got to help ease the tension, study the flux. That's what Peak's doing. Wait for the ticket drawer. Okay. I might actually quickly go through and just check some timers, just remind myself where we're up to. Obviously I can do those. This is Peak's progress, so he's got... they have 4 more cycles to work on for that. I don't think there's much I can do here. Actually, that's not true. We can keep going on this. Matsutake. I've actually got some of those. Yeah, so that's something we can work towards, definitely. Just remind myself where all my other timers are at. The hypercommune line is basically done at this point. I can grow mushrooms to make more stabilizer, but I've actually got 5 here, so I think I worked out in the last episode I've actually got enough stabilizer for like 40 cycles to sort of maintain this 5 dice thing I've got going. I don't think there's anything else on the eye apart from leaving the game with Ankita. I don't think there's anything to do there. Some scrap freighters and stuff in. I don't think I need those at this point. Lemon Mina, here we go. So this is actually ready now. Oh no, the Sidereal Horizon's got a bit more, but we've got a Lemon Mina thing to do here. So let's go and do that first. I'm keen to finish off their storyline. I've never seen the end of their storyline. I kind of overlooked it in my first playthrough. The crowds have already gathered by the time you get to the shipyard, and you recognise faces among them. People you've worked alongside on the Sidereal. The intervening cycles have turned their excitement to anxiety, and few of them smile at you. Instead, the nervous energy of the crowd fills the space, creating a feedback loop of growing tension. You pick out Lem and Mina and work your way over to them, pushing through the crowd. He silently raises his eyebrows at you, his anxiety obvious, but Mina flashes you a huge smile, unaware of the tension. "Robot!" she shouts, reaching out to you. Hi, Mina. She waves frantically, grinning. "Quite the turnout, huh?" Lem glances around, pulling Mina close. "I don't think patience is one of this crowd's strengths." The sound of an argument towards the back catches your and Lem's attention. He is putting it lightly. This place seems set to explode. This isn't good. Lem doesn't dare answer, but the look in his eyes suggests he agrees. "This is Asta Enghart of the Kellis Foundation." The announcement echoes from the speakers at the shipyard entrance, and shouts of "Quiet!" rapidly follow. "I'm sorry I can't be there to meet you all, and thank you on behalf of the Sendra Kellis for the work you have done on the Sidereal Horizon." Most of the crowd strains to see Asta's face, but the small display shows only a ghostly white figure, smudged and unclear. "Sendra wanted me to pass on her personal thanks for your commitment to and belief in the Kalis Foundation's mission. We chose the Eye for this project because we knew that we would find like-minded individuals here, especially among the ranks of the venerable Havanage Association. Unlike most of the core, we neither believe Erlin's Eye to be a threat or a rogue state, but instead an embryo for the formation of a new, decentralized social structure, one where each citizen might be the master of their own destiny. A ripple of impatience runs through the crowd. They didn't come here for a sermon. You are all pioneers, just like those core citizens who the Sidereal Horizon will carry, in cryosleep, to the planet that will become the Foundation's first frontier world, Kalis 1. At the mention of the destination world, excited conversations break out among the workers. There, our citizens will be able to create their own innovative bottom-up economic order, aligned with the principles set down by Sendra Kalis herself: freedom, resilience, and self-sustenance. This is all thanks to your tireless efforts in the Havanage Yards. As a reward for those efforts, you may know that we are offering a select group the opportunity to join the caretakers of this vision, the staff of the Sidereal Horizon, who will maintain the vessel during its multi-decade transit through interstellar space. Lem turns to you, his eyes bright. This is it. This draw has been performed at random by the central AIs of the Foundation and is final and binding. Please note, only licensed contractors of the Foundation are eligible for this draw. I know you have all been eagerly awaiting this day, and without further delay I will now read the Kalis identification numbers of those chosen for this great honor. A murmur runs through the crowd. Kalis identification numbers? Licensed contractors? You've never even heard the term mentioned. Is this something you are supposed to be assigned? You glance at Lem, but his eyes are fixed forward, wide and shimmering. All around you, people are speaking in hushed tones like a rising wave. Asta starts reading out sequences of numbers and letters, and panic begins to set in. No one seems to know what is happening. Somewhere near the front of the crowd, someone shouts in celebration and everyone pushes forward. Lem? You turn to see Lem still staring forward. Mina is scared now as the shouts start. Daddy? Someone throws something at the entrance and it rattles against the shipyard doors. You see, for the first time, Havanage security stood on either side, scared, arguing between themselves. You feel the anger rising in the crowd. Lem, let's go. He doesn't move. They might call out names. I can't. Mina tugs at his dog tags. It's not happening. Lem blinks rapidly and then turns to you. He opens and closes his mouth and looks down at Mina. He sees the fear in her eyes and understands. It's time to go. You lead Lem and Mina out, shoving people aside. As you do, you hear the sound of scuffles emerging at the front of the crowd, of metal canisters bouncing off the shipyard walls. You keep your head down and walk away, the sound of Asta reading off the ciphers echoing above the chaos like some strange mantra. When you turn to Lem, there are tear tracks running down his cheeks, and Mina is sniffling into his jacket. You feel the sadness rising in you too. They screwed you. Screwed all of you. You were never even on the list. The feeling is as unpleasant as it is familiar. You stare ahead into the tunnel as the security sirens sound out, a signal for the coming violence. I think we were always going to fail that drive. It's just the story of what happens on the Sidereal. Well, there's another 3 cycles before that leads to anything, so we're doing okay. We'll probably use what's this? Lemon Mina's unit, okay. There's a note on the door of the unit. Sleeper, gone to find work, Lem. Looks like at least 3 cycles until that's gonna change at all. So that's fine. Maybe we'll go and do something with the refugees now. So that's a ticking clock. Let's just see what else we got on these other ships. Oh, okay. The more you offload supplies into the docking bay, the more attention your efforts seem to be gaining. Sole shipment of supplies that's partially unloaded, the crew absent. If you want to help, the best way to finish the job. So there's 6 segments on this clock. I have to decide whether I do these one at a time or sort of work on them at the same time. 8 segments on this clock. Clock. The crew won't let you into the dust houses, but there are plenty of supporting systems that could do with some love and care. Systems repair. Okay, so those are 2 clocks. And we also have stuff to do here. Well, I can start off by putting the mushrooms they need here. Ooh, that adds towards that. I thought that was going to add towards that. This is action. Oh no, that's the wrong mushroom, probably why. Seems pretty good. We'll do another one. I mean, that'll complete the Hearth survival clock. I'm not sure what this one is. Oh, it probably is for each of the 3 ships we can help, I would imagine, isn't it? So we've solved this one now. So if... Oh, here we go. Sol finds you deep in the layers of the Pilgrim Seed, working on a patch for a life support vent. You hear him coming, his suit hissing as he does.
I had to ask around to find you, he smiles. Seems you know the place better than me these days.
Doubt it. Sol nods.
I was on the work crew that built this thing, so maybe you're right.
He winks. Sol holds out a hand.
Stand up and let me see you.
He pulls you to your feet.
I don't believe we ever had a sleeper on Ember's Hearth.
Sol looks you up and down.
You sure do make me wish we had. Could have done with a few workers as good as you.
Thank you. Sol nods.
You're welcome. Seems like I owe you some answers, seeing as you've been working hard on the Pilgrim Seed these past cycles.
He leans against a crate, his suit creaking.
What do you want to know about?
The flux. Sol sighs.
That's what I imagined.
He scratches at his beard.
I can't say I'm an expert, but I can tell you what we witnessed on Hearth. At first we ignored it. A few farms had their automation systems blink out. Lifter suits locked up. Bots reset their schedules. Nothing we hadn't seen before. But then the news came out of Passero that they'd been hit harder. The local network had gone down and no one could get it back up. It was rough for a while, but out in the farmland we were used to that.
Passero?
Capital of Hearth. Tens of thousands of souls made it their home.
Sol grimaces.
Anyway, we thought the flux was a freak event until the day they got the network running again. That's when the cascade happened. System after system corrupted.
Data lost.
And then another flux hit, and another. The bots were running circles in the fields. People had to be cut out of lifter suits like mine. And the city... I never saw it, but I heard from the others.
Sol shivers.
It only got worse from there. We couldn't seem to fight it. It cut us right open. That's what I came to know about the flux. Some folks say it came from the inner system, that it might be connected to some old tech there or something, but I never heard anything more than rumors.
Sol scratches their beard. Is he a they them as well?
Sorry, I don't have better news.
Sol shifts on the crate.
Anything else you wanted to ask?
Well, there was something.
What do you want to know about?
You. Sol squints at you.
You want to know about me? I'm not sure that was part of the deal I was thinking of, Sleeper. Unless you're asking about this.
He raps on the metal of his suit.
In case you haven't guessed, this is the only thing keeping me vertical.
He adjusts a shoulder piece.
It's a lifter suit made for working the fields. We had to modify it so I could walk around after the accident. And that's all I'm saying, Sleeper, because to be honest with you, I don't owe you more than that. You want to know about the flux, about Ember's Hearth, go ahead. But don't pry into my life, and I won't pry into yours.
Sol lets the silence sit, staring hard at the floor. Oh, it's saying him now. The suit seemed to loom over him, looking more like a burden than a support. With the bars around his head, you suddenly start to think of it as a cage.
Look, I don't mean to be rude. Let's leave it there. There's too many eyes on me in this ship as it is, and I'd rather just slip into the background. Thank you very much.
Let's ask about Ember's Hearth.
Sure, he smiles. I mean, I spent my whole life on that rock, so I have plenty to tell. I'll save my life story for another time.
He winks.
But the short of it is that the Hearth is the first of Ember's moons, the biggest and most populated, which is down to the successful terraforming system Sibel set up when Solheim owned the system.
How are relations with the other moons? Sol smiles.
Depends who you've been talking to. You shouldn't mistake me for a politician, Sleeper. That's for others to do.
He gives you a look.
But Ember's Step was a test ground for the terraforming tech that Hearth is built on, while Ember's Song was the extraction site for the raw materials and energy needed to make it work. You can imagine that might lead to some tension. However,
Sol holds up a hand.
Despite what people might say, Hearth was never fully stable.
Sol shakes his head.
Sibel liked to talk it up, but after they pulled out and Solheim left, our people discovered that they'd have to keep the systems running themselves, so the place would soon end up as dry as steppe. Hearth was good as long as the evaporators kept running, kept filling our skies with clouds. Even after the collapse, our people kept those things going, turning that subsurface ocean into a periwinkle blue sky.
Sol smiles.
Flux ended that, though, and when they failed, the rains failed, and the harvest with it.
Sol pauses.
And soon you have a city without a way to feed itself.
Sol shudders.
That's when we, some of us, made the decision to set out on this place.
He gestures at the pilgrim seed.
And look for another future. Anything else you wanted to ask?
I'm good for now. I think that's everything.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Sol stands, flexing against the suit. He takes his cane in his hand.
Keep it up, Sleeper.
He smiles as he leaves.
You're making me think I need to start making new plans for this place.
With that, Sol leaves, and you wonder what he means. As he creaks away down the corridor, you can't help but feel there's more to him than it seems. So if I click on this now, one segment of that clock will be filled, right? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, that's good. So this was the smaller clock, so let's have a little go at this, perhaps. We've only got a +1 there, whereas I have a +2 on interface here. So I could use my 3. I mean, it's still risky. There's a chance of losing energy, but I'll take that chance. Nope! Negative outcome. Fine. Oh, I can't take more of that. Alright, let's leave the time. I'm going to go and eat up at the farmer's place. Let's buy some food. I'm going to try using my 2s as well. I'm slightly more hopeful there'll be a good result, but I want to be able to have the energy just in case I take a hit. I don't know what happens. I think probably it eats into condition if you are at negative energy and you're losing some. So we don't want that. Condition's way more valuable than energy. But let's give the 4 a try. Okay, neutral. We can live with neutral. Positive would be nice. There we go. So these should be 100% successes, so we should get 1, 2, 3. We should get up to there on these. Some cryo there as well. There, so we've almost finished their clock. We're going to have to wait until the next time. I could have re-rolled that one thinking about it. I kind of forget I've got that re-roll sometimes. Never mind. Yeah, let's sleep at the Hyperdorm. And I'm going to use a stabilizer because we'll be down to 4 dice tomorrow otherwise. So we'll keep it topped up to 5. There we go. Let's end the cycle. Well, we'll use the higher dice and re-roll the ones here, I think. So we know that it's going to be at least a couple more cycles till we can do anything with Lemon Mina and the Sidereal, so let's carry on up here. So we can finish off this clock. Yeah, we'll use a 5. Actually, you know what? Let's put these high numbers into this other one where I've only got the +1 modifier. So these will be automatic successes, so we should be able to finish the clock with these 3 good dice. There we go, so we finished this one now. Docking axis. There is a loose crowd around the supplies you have unloaded, and a tense mood brewing among them. You sit nearby on the edge of the shuttle's docking tunnel, resting. Further away, crews from Ember's Song continue their lives as usual, coming and going, trading, discussing. There is a quiet efficiency to the hub, set up as a common space with a swarm of small ships from Ember's Song that are part of a flotilla. I would say the flotilla, personally. Unlike Hearth or Steppe, there is no one capital ship for this moon's refugees, just a mass of individuals travelling in concert.
We told half we didn't want their scraps.
A jeering voice comes out of the small crowd nearby. Here we are, Peter. You turn to see a gaunt, pale man wearing the industrial work gear you've seen many of the Song refugees wearing.
You hear me?
These supplies are to help. He smirks.
Oh, how noble of you. Coming out here to help us singers.
There is a rumble of anger around the crowd.
We agreed to join the flotilla for joint protection. We did not agree to Ember's Hearth using the flotilla to secure their control of the moons.
What's Petter? You realise Petter is addressing the crowd as much as he is addressing you.
With the cordon down, our crews are more than able to acquire what's needed from the Eye, or is owed as restitution for keeping us restrained.
He pats one of the crates you unloaded.
What we need, we will take.
Sol wants to cooperate.
Sol is a farmer. Even the people of Song know that he was simply the sole survivor of Hearth's leadership. His authority means nothing.
Petter looks around at the crowd.
Half think they can buy us, but we remember the past.
A rumble of agreement runs through the crowd. He smiles at them.
Take the supplies if you wish, of course. We are not wasteful.
You hear the dog? Petter approaches you directly. The crowd tentatively moves forward, and by the time he reaches you, they are already dragging away crates and distributing the contents.
I'm not one for shooting the messenger, Sleeper, says Petter as he approaches. But we cannot concede to Hearth here, not for a moment.
I don't understand.
I can see that.
Petter sits beside you on the docking tunnel's lip.
What was your plan, Sleeper? Unload the supplies and wait for someone to start throwing them back at you?
He nods at the crowd rifling through the crates.
Because that what was about to happen.
So I should thank you? Petter bows a little.
My pleasure. What do you think happened to the crew of this shuttle?
He shakes his head.
They were chased out of this place.
What is happening here?
We're maintaining our independence.
He smiles.
Do you know anything about Ember's moon, Sleeper? Or were you planning to wander into this flotilla totally blind? An objective outsider offering help?
He rolls his eyes. I know a little.
A little is the same as nothing. I'm going to assume you know the basics. The gas giant Ember has 7 moons. The 3 biggest are Ember's Step, Ember's Song, and Ember's Heart.
He winks.
We can cover...
Hearth, probably. Everyone keeps saying that it's Hearth, which is very different to Heart. He winks.
We can cover the 4 sisters next session. Step was to be the first settled. Contracts old Solheim gave to the terraformers Sibel Systems when they first claimed the Helion system. That's way back when. Step was a testing ground, and like most testing grounds, it didn't turn out too well. Partial atmosphere slowly sloughing off each orbit, a dysfunctional ecosystem, and a whole load of dust-clogged settlers. The place is a miserable desert long past its best before date. So, Sibel moved to Hearth, where they redoubled their efforts. The subsurface ocean and some balmy tidal heating helped, allowing them to build a real atmosphere, a real habitable world. A fact that the typical Hearth colonist won't ever let you forget. How did Sibel achieve such a thing, you might wonder? Well, that's where we come in. It's that same old rule of surrogacy, the one humanity built our universe around.
Petter claps a hand to his chest in mock pride.
My moon, Ember's Song, is a sulphur-soaked rock covered in volcanoes, tidally heated by its inner orbit to sweltering temperatures. Exactly the kind of crucible you need to fuel a terraforming project. Energy, industry, fuel. Song provided the raw materials for Hearth.
Petter grimaces. Willingly. It says willinging, but I presume that's willingly.
Or not. And a crucible requires people to run it. Us singers. Born into a flaming pit and asked to stoke it so others might live in a paradise in the making. That's what we had to endure, until Solheim brought everything down.
Petter rattles off this speech from memory, and you wonder how many times he has delivered it.
No Solheim, no contract. No contract, no Sibel. And no Sibel meant 3 moons suddenly independent.
Petter shakes his head.
It was a war, Sleeper. Sometimes hot, sometimes cold, and unsurprisingly, Hearth and Step came out of it better than us. Yet,
Petter holds up a hand.
They need us, Sleeper. Always have. And so we are the linchpin. We are the centre around which the moons orbit, not swirling ember. We've resisted takeovers, sieges and expansions. And now we'll resist this. Half the people on these ships think the flux was caused by Hearth, intentionally or otherwise. And I have to say, some cycles I agree. So before you come here to hand out supplies like a good soldier, maybe educate yourself.
What does that matter now? Petter shakes his head.
Do you forgive crimes against yourself so easily, Sleeper? Would you return to the bosom of SNARP if they sent someone to collect?
Petter stares at the crowd.
Don't presume to judge us. I want you to imagine what it's like to try and live on an airless, volcanic rock when every system that sustains you starts shutting down.
He spits and wipes a sleeve across his mouth.
We abandoned nothing. Some stayed, others left. But we will reclaim Ember as soon as the flux...
Pardon me.
As soon as the flux fades or ends. Or we've weathered worse.
Honestly, the mouth on him. The flotilla should be united.
Have you been listening?
Petter's voice raises immediately.
We don't want to be united, Sleeper. Being united by half means living under them. I won't keep you from the docking axis, Sleeper. No one here is the authority for that. But watch yourself here. Try to remember that the Eye is just another in the long list of people who've tried to control us.
I understand. Petter nods.
Then let it guide your actions.
He sighs.
Look, we are many and we have many needs. Ships come to this docking axis for repairs, for requisitions, for friendship. You can provide these as well as any singer. If you want to help in your own name, Sleeper, not in that of Hearth.
Petter shakes his head.
Carry that name here and you will lose all trust. Be as we are, act in your own name alone.
Petter puts a hand on your shoulder and stands.
I hope I didn't waste my time here, Sleeper.
And with that he walks away, back to the shrinking crowd that is distributing the last of the supplies amongst the crews present. You watch them pass the food and water between them. No signs of conflict between the crews. Just a careful distribution of resources. Petter chats with a few crews, each of them casting looks in your direction, ones that reveal little about the singer's intentions. You stand. It seems the tensions on the flotilla run much deeper than you expected. This won't be easy. Okay, well, we'll give them our ship mind. There you go, Petter. What do you think about that, eh? My passive-aggressive helping there? What have we got here? Oh, well, okay, well, it's better than it was. Let's, I'm actually going to risk the 1 again. I know it's crazy, but I'd like to keep the 5 for something else if possible. We only need we got a 75% chance of doing this. There we go. Perfect. Perfect outcome. I want to maybe try and get some of those growth spores to give to Petter. We can do that here. +2, so yeah, so we can do this for a hunt to get 2 there. We'll have to wait until next cycle to get the other one. Because he needs 3. But let's go and talk to Aki, whose voice I can't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember what voice I did for her. It's been, as I said, it's been quite a long time since I recorded the last episode. I see you've been contributing. Aki stands next to you at the dust house window. I was unsure what to expect when we joined the flotilla on its voyage to the Eye, but after the journey across the system, then the quarantine, and then the flux reaching all the way out here too, Aki stops herself. Thank you. She bows a little. The other ships have only been interested in sending us supplies, but we grow all we need. She gestures at the dust house. What the dust houses need. That is the problem that concerns us. She smiles and turns to you. Shall we go inside? Yeah, sure, I'd love to. Aki smiles. Come. She taps away at a panel by the window. Seems only fair that after your help with the support systems, you get to see what it is that you are maintaining. Aki leads you to an opening beside the window. You pass through a dark, changing room. You notice Aki is sliding on an oxygen mask and visor. She looks at the swirling dust inside. Inside, it's just like Ember's step. Thin atmosphere, constant dust storms. Nothing that will bother you. She passes you a mask. The dust isn't exactly pleasant to inhale, however, so take this. You hold it to your face. She leads you through a short decontamination tunnel with its fizzing panels of purifying light, and then through into the dust house. Immediately the wind and the heat hits you. You feel the rough waves of dust scattering across your face and peer through the amber murk. Your feet slide on shifting piles of sand. Welcome to Step, or an emulation of it at least. Aki's voice sounds distant, echoey. The terraforming process only managed to provide a limited atmosphere around the moon, one which is slowly escaping. It's been like that since I was born, so I got used to the idea. You catch her bright eyes through the amber dust. So did everything else that lives there. You feel something hard beneath your feet, beneath the sand, like a coil of rope. Look down. You instinctively look down and see something pale and twisted poking out of the sand. Aki sees you looking. This is step silk. It's one of the plants we established on Step. She kicks away some red sand. Like any bast fibre, it can be retted and woven into clothes. I'm wearing some made from it myself. It's one of many species adapted to Step since the Solheim collapse, which is why it must be preserved. She stares out into the swirling dust. It is as much a refugee as we are, and the dust houses hold hundreds of other species. You look at the pale, unassuming root, threaded thickly through the sand. Aki watches you silently. Had enough? It'll be easy to speak outside. Aki leads you back out through the decontamination tunnel, which blasts the dust from both of you with a burst of metallic-tasting air, and into the changing room. Aki hangs up both the masks, patiently awaiting your questions. Why bring plants with you? These are more than just plants. This is our way of life. Aki looks exhausted. The step silk cannot survive in any other conditions, neither can the others. And Step itself... Aki pauses, pulling her shawl around her. She looks small and pale inside its layers. Step was already a doomed world. She sniffs. When Solheim gave the terraforming contract to Sibel, they believed they could build an atmosphere. But the moon's erratic orbit made it impossible to maintain. By the time of the Solheim collapse, the atmosphere was already fading, and Sibel's attention was on Ember's hearth. After the collapse, Sibel fell too. Its researchers scattered across the moons, and any central organization lost. Since then, my parents' generation worked tirelessly to survive, to adapt what we had to the failing moon. The steppe silk, the other adapted species, are the life's work of the steppe's colonies. So when the flux started to collapse our computer systems, corrode and destroy our life support, our water supply, our agriculture, we had to leave. Aki sits heavily on a nearby bench. Soon the only traces of steppe will be on this ship. Aki begins to cry quietly. You're unsure what to do. Sit beside her. You sit on the bench beside her as she sobs. You understand why this ship, why the refugees from Steppe are so different. Their world was already dying when the flux arrived. Ember's Steppe is a terraformed moon. A partial atmosphere, established colonies, agriculture. And yet when the flux events started, its people had to leave. You think of the eye and the delicate web of decaying systems it rests upon. What hope does a ruined station have against a wave that corrupts, corrodes and collapses? Aki interrupts your thoughts, rubbing her eyes. Not everyone left. There wasn't room to take all the people and fill the dust houses. My parents, their friends and many others stayed. She sniffs. We carry the steppe for them. Perhaps there is hope. We learn not to talk of hope on a dying world. There is meaning for them, and any future they can build with the time that they have. She stands up. I wanted you to understand the importance of these dust houses, of what they contain. She leads you back out into the corridor. If the flux events continue to reach out to the eye, we need to build protections to ensure their safety. Aki meets your eye. I can help. Aki smiles weakly. I knew it. You will be welcome on the wind's long shadow whenever you wish. These dust houses are already decaying. I've seen it. She stares into the dust. We had thought that they would last longer, but that last flux event. Help us. Aki looks at you. Please. I will. When you are ready, we will begin the preparations for reinforcing the dust houses. We need to be ready for the next flux event. Aki's eyes shine with the last of her tears. She takes a breath. I will see you soon. Aki drifts away down the corridor, leaving you alone once more at the viewing window, watching the ragged, delicate traces of the moon known as Ember's Steppe. So what do I have to provide here? Just dice, it looks like. Okay. I mean, this feels like the one we'll do, just because the success condition is much better. I mean, it all feeds into the same clock, so I don't think it will be different if I don't do any of these. That's still progressing. I think we'll go and rest. I might go and buy a bit of food first. Don't need stabilizer. I'm going to save the scrap. I don't know if that might be useful at some point. Oh, I left. Whoops, I meant to end cycle. Ooh, that's a nice day. Alrighty, let's get some more spore caps. 4 will be fine here. I'll actually get some more, because what I'll do is I'll plant them in the grove as well and get some mushrooms going there too. I've got 6 now. So I can put 3 in here. There we go. And let's go and give the rest to the people from Ember's Song, the singers. Yep, so we do that. The spores have been seeded, and while some may be suspicious of your efforts, crew by crew, you'll convince them. Petter. As you cross the axis looking for a shuttle to take you back to the ruined cordon, you spot Petter standing at the edge of the central hub. Something about the way he's leaning against the rail, looking down across the axis and towards the blinking lights of the flotilla beyond makes you pause. He is completely still, his head drooping low and his shoulders hunched high. I will approach him. You lean on the railing a little way from Petter, leaving a gap between you. This close, you can see the blank stare in his eyes, the way his hands hang limply in front of him. He takes a minute to notice you.
Sleeper?
He inhales sharply.
Still hanging around?
Trying to be useful. Petter smiles a tight smile, but doesn't turn to face you.
That sleeper thing, needing to be useful.
It's a me thing.
It would make sense.
Petter closes his eyes.
Tools need to be used.
What's up with you? Petter stands back from the railing.
Who invited you, Sleeper?
Who said you could come here? You think because the Arthurs decided to name you their errand boy, we have to put up with you?
We don't want you here. We don't need you.
His eyes burn with rage.
Go home, you stupid machine.
A second after he shouts that final line, he collapses in on himself, staying upright, but all of the energy going out of his body. He slumps back against the railings, his eyes closed once more. You wait. After a while, he speaks.
I'm tired, Sleeper. Tired of everything. I'm tired of the empty paternalism of half. I'm tired of the paranoid whining of the crews. I'm tired of the endless cycles that look the same, smell the same, feel the same. I'm tired of running, of hiding, of fixing every shitty thing that breaks out here.
His shout echoes a little in the hub, but few stop to look. He looks down at his feet. I get it.
Petter nods. I'm sorry, Sleeper.
He sighs.
Something is... I don't feel okay. Just tired, I think. Really tired.
He stands.
I'm gonna go.
He looks at you and sniffs.
Get some sleep.
Sleep well. Petter nods slowly, turning away. He raises a hand and drifts away towards the centre of the hub. You turn back to the railing, not wanting to watch him go. Seeing him like this, you prefer not to stare. The traffic of the axis rumbles on as you watch under an endlessly shining sun. The same air recycled through all of these lungs, the same dust gathering speck by speck on the windows. You take a sharp breath, stand straight and get moving, before the inertia of it all gets to you too. Okay, so we still haven't added to this clock, so we've obviously got more to do here, perhaps. Oh god. Okay. Right. Okay. What drives have we got at the moment? Is there anything I can kind of do? Not really. Just wondered, I'd like to level up another one to get a +2 modifier on like the engineering or something like I've got on Intuit here. Well, with that in mind, let's input all 3 dice into this. And that'll be 9 segments filled up on this clock, which is 3/4 of it, I would think. There we go. Just finish that another time. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go and eat some food, we're going to rest, and I think in the morning we can go and talk to Lem and Mina. So I might even cross over now. Maybe we'll spend a night in our own apartment. Been a little while, feed our kitty. And a lot of people in the comments have noted that we appear to be feeding him crackers, which is, yeah, it's not ideal. Okay, we can only do that with the dice, which I don't have. Let's go and see Emphis. Actually, Emphis is a bit of a waste. We don't need to do that much. We can go to the bar and eat there. Oh no, we killed the rations, didn't we? Damn it. Alright, Emphis. I'm sure we can spare you 12 credits. Probably would have been more efficient to rest and then eat, but whatever. We've got loads of money currently. Feed the kitty. Nice dry crackers, just like all cats like to eat. Then we'll end the cycle. Too bad. Alright, Lem and Mina. Next stage. There's no answer when you buzz Lem's unit, but the door is open. You push the door and find Mina, sitting in the middle of the floor playing with Bun Bun. Hi, Mina. Hi, robot, says Mina sullenly, waving Bun Bun's paw without looking up. Where's Daddy? Mina doesn't respond. She walks Bun Bun across the floor, narrating quietly to herself. You look around the unit. It's a mess. Dishes and glasses on the side, some of Mina's clothes piled up in a corner. Mina is sitting by her bag, which is spilled out across the floor, her drawing slate cracked and dark. Now let's tidy up. You start with the kitchen units, piling up the dishes in the auto wash and wiping them down. You pile the clothes up next, folding them neatly. Mina watches you quietly as she plays, curious but silent. You've just started to look at fixing her cracked slate when Lem enters. Sleeper, what are you... He pauses and looks from you to Mina and back again. Oh, never mind. He drops a bag by the door and slumps onto the couch. Everything okay? Lem lets out a weak laugh. You forgot the past few cycles now too? Oh, wish I was so lucky. He looks away at the open door. Look, now's not a good time. What happened? What happened? We messed up, that's what happened. We put our hopes in someone else's stupid scheme. He pinches the bridge of his nose. You understand they never even put us on the list, right? I've been all around the rim looking for work, and I've run into more than a few from the crews. It turns out only long-time Havenage members were issued those Kalis ID numbers. They never planned to consider us. Havenage say they didn't know that was what they were going to use to make the draw, and who knows, maybe Kalis pulled the wool over their eyes. But what does it matter? All those hours in the yards for a hand-to-mouth wage and nothing else? He slams his hand down on the sofa. You're giving up? Lem opens his mouth to respond, but stops himself. He looks at the open door again. They are moving the Sidereal up the hub now, you know, he says without meeting your eye. That's where it'll depart from. They are bringing in a ship with all their cryosleep pioneers and transferring them up there in microgravity before loading the crew. We could sneak aboard. You think they're just going to let people on board? The security they'll have, that has to be impossible. He looks over at Mina. Look, we'll be fine. We always have been. I just need a little more time. He sighs. We had our hearts set on that trip is all. Mina comes over and climbs into his lap. He smiles. What if I got you on board? I missed you these past few cycles. I missed that optimism. Lem strokes Mina's hair. Look, you want to go up the hub and ask around? Be my guest. I can't get up there, with Mina down here, and I'm sure the Sidereal will bring in a crowd. But be careful. This kind of thing always attracts scammers and thieves. You find any way on board, you take it. You need help to get there, ask me. But for now, me and Mina here are sticking to the eye. She looks up at him and smiles. Thanks, Lem. I don't know if I want to go on the ship, so I don't want to say I'll help us all, but we can certainly try and help them. No, thank you, Sleeper, for coming by. You stand to leave, and Mina grabs your hand, eager to give you one more smile. Then you're out, back in the walkways of the low end, already thinking of the plans to make this right. Okay. Then we've got one more cycle till the Sidereal moves on. And then, oh, no, it's already done it. It's already done it. Okay, so let's go up to the eye then, which is the hub. Yeah, let's enter the hub. You can go to the Sidereal dock. Ooh, the Sidereal is being loaded and prepped. Among all the commotion, is it possible to find a way on board? Yeah, we got the dice for this right now, I think. 3 of these would do. There we go. Castor.
Quite the achievement, isn't she? Sandra Kalis must be proud.
I can't remember his voice, by the way. You recognize the resonating voice of Castor immediately and turn to see him, hooded and tucked into the shadows near the viewing platform. Castor?
I see you remember our game. Good.
He looks around, but the platform is clear.
I'm afraid you'll have to wait for a rematch. Microgravity makes Tablar a little difficult.
He smiles broadly. Castor walks out to stand beside you on the platform. The telltale clunk of magnetic boots accompanies his slow crossing. He notices you looking at them.
I don't much like it up here, he explains. I hear there was some trouble at the Habinet shipyard when they announced the results of the crew lottery.
They screwed us.
I know.
He sighs, meeting your eye.
An ugly business. Kalis are too used to the way things work in the core. Exploitation is the only logic they know.
He gestures out at the Sidereal.
You know why they built this monstrosity on the eye?
Control.
Certainly. There's no corporate oversight out here, but that's not all.
He stares at the pristine yellow hull.
Kalis built it here,
says Castor gravely.
Because they didn't want anyone to know it exists.
He rubs his forehead.
And secrecy is something I cannot abide.
He turns to face you.
There are people being loaded onto that ship as we speak. Sleeping people, locked in cryosleep like the person that you were emulated from. There are hundreds of them, and Kalis wants to send them out to a planet at the edge of the settled systems without anyone knowing where it is. But you, Sleeper, can do something about that. You're like me, you deal with data. You can read it right out of the air. With someone like you on that ship, secrecy isn't a problem. You can ping back whatever I need, whenever I need it. As long as you're on board. With you on the Sidereal, and with some minor modifications.
He pauses.
You can be my eyes and ears. I will keep track of Kalis' grand project through you.
In short, says Castor, stretching,
I can get you aboard, Sleeper, but I'm going to need you to help me.
Who are you?
I'm a concerned party, someone who likes to know what is happening when it is happening, not afterwards.
It's not just me.
Yes, your friend Lem. That can be arranged. It is difficult, but not impossible. The condition is, of course, that you go too.
Castor clunks closer to the window, watching the tugs wheeling around the Sidereal.
It's a simple offer, and the only one that will get you on that ship. Please consider it.
He turns back, silhouetted against the ship.
But to make it happen, I need your assistance, as I said. There is a Kalis Foundation ship docked in the now empty shipyard. I need the data from its servers. This will allow me to produce the IDs necessary for your transit.
Castor looks over his glasses at you.
Kalis ain't stupid, though. Their ship is totally isolated from the station. You'll need to get on board if you want access to their air-walled servers. Once you have the data, meet me at your friend's unit so we can give him the good news.
He smiles.
I noticed his importance to you, and the little one. So cute. You don't extract the data before the sidereal horizon leaves the hub, then I will get the message. We have other options, but you are certainly my preferred one. But be sure when you act, Sleeper, once you take the data from Kalos, you'll set off a series of events that will likely make it hard for you to untangle yourself from. Either way, I recommend you stop asking around up here. You're bringing a lot of attention to yourself. Castor glances around as if to emphasize his point. There are only a handful of cycles until departure, Sleeper. Make your decision.
With that, Castor marches back off the platform, the sound of his mag boots fading away, leaving you to contemplate the sidereal horizon and the part it may play in your future. Oh wow, okay, yeah, we are quite limited in cycles, aren't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cycles. I don't know if I can play out all the story DLC in that time. I want Mina to go on that, but... I kind of want that to be the end of their story, but... Oh, that's... I kind of wish I hadn't progressed that now. I put a hard time limit on this playthrough now because of that. What's happening here? My dice into this. Here. Ugh, it's not very good. Okay, 75% chance of a decent result on this. Yeah, I'll take it. Oh, that's thrown me for a loop, that has. That hard time limit on this playthrough. 8 cycles, 7 now, because I've run out of dice. It's going to be 7 when I wake up. Oh, what have I got to do up here now? Okay, that's almost going. This is almost done. This is not almost done. This is going to take a while. Oh, damn, that's... It's put me in a bit of a dilemma, that has. I mean, bearing in mind that the last story DLC is not yet released, in fact doesn't even have a release date at the time I'm filming this, makes me think we do as much of this as we can, while also trying to meet the deadline on that sidereal takeoff, because we want Mina, and I guess has to be ourselves on board. I think we work towards that, while doing as much as we can here to kind of see the content, but... So maybe I won't leave, maybe I won't pause the series here, maybe I'll just keep going, and I don't think we'll get to play part 3 of the story DLC, but hopefully for people who are buying the game, have bought the game, they'll watch this and be intrigued to see how it ends. I don't think I'm going to be able to see it end. Which is a shame having come this far, but I really, you know, I've really bought into Mina's story. I want them to have a good ending. And it'll bring my story to an end as well, obviously, so... a lot of food for thought there. I'll end the episode here, and I'll keep thinking about what I want to do to end this series. Whether I want to pause it and wait for the story DLC and let, you know, the sidereal time out, or if I pursue that ending, which I'm more inclined to do. But we'll see. So thanks very much for watching this episode of Citizen Sleeper. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. If you did, then please hit the thumbs up button on the video. Leave me a comment. Always good to hear what you guys are thinking. And I'll see you next time for more Citizen Sleeper. Bye for now.